So we have a really cool guest on the show today who's done some amazing things in the RE/MAX network, in his business, and is, kind of built some structure around it to help others.
Yeah. Shane Torres.
I love it. So Shane's the broker owner with RE/MAX Concepts in Polk City, Iowa. He's the CEO and founder of Road to 20 Million. He's committed to helping others achieve success with his valuable resources for business entrepreneurs and real estate professionals. Welcome to the show, Shane.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Hey, glad to have you on. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I will do that real quick. I want to clarify. So I am in Polk City, but we have 14 offices spread out throughout Iowa, and I have 3 other partners at Concept. So
wow, 14.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, we're the largest RE/MAX in Central Network. So
I love it. I love it.
So
tell us about yourself. Tell us about Shane.
Yep. So, like I said, I'm now broker, one of the broker owners at Concepts. Got into real estate in 2009, which, as we all know, was probably the worst time ever to get into real estate, as the market was going down. Was a home builder before that, and had to shut that company down when the recession hit. From there, got into real estate and worked my way up. Started a team. Within 3 years, I went from chapter 7 to 20 million in production. And as opportunities continued to present themselves, worked my way up to where I am now.
I love it. I love it. So 2009, getting into real estate, kind of what was going on in your head when you decided to do that?
I came from a construction background, and I'd applied for over 200 plus jobs throughout the Midwest and got denied for a variety of reasons. Either they were cutting back or too qualified or whatever. And I'd already started my licensing process and I had nothing else to do. So it's like, why not? It was really a turning point for me when I was going through those very early stages, and a tough time was my wife. We were having a chat one night, and I would say it was a low point for me. I asked my wife, if you obtain a goal and then you lose it, did it still count? And she said, what did you lose that mattered? And I thought a lot about that, and it kind of changed my whole perspective overnight. And that's when I was like, I got nothing else to do, so why not give it a shot? And borrowed a couple grand from my father-in-law to pay for all the upfront fees and just did it.
I love it. So you guys kind of threw caution to the wind and said, we're all in.
Yeah, didn't have any other choice.
That's it. Yeah. You're in the corner. You got to fight. That's the only way out, right?
That's basically what happened. I was, like I said, chapter 7, I was in foreclosure, living off of about $300 a week. And honestly, at one point, I made a vow because I grew up this way, but at one point I had to jump on food assistance for a while just to feed my kids. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing well now. How many kids do you have?
3. I have a 15-year-old daughter. And if you've got daughters, you know how that's just a whole nother world in itself right now.
I have 2 of them.
You're right. So 13-year-old son and a 9-year-old son, been married for, 15, almost 18 years.
Wow. Cool. So, congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
That's awesome. So let's jump into the coaching aspect here. Why, you've been through a lot in your business, seen both ends of the spectrum, obviously.
Yeah.
And, coached yourself and talked to others along the way. Why is coaching in the business so important?
For me for me to be able to, whether it be someone around me or, we've got mutual coaching friends like Chet Black, just having someone that's of a positive influence that's been through some things that can help guide you when you go through tough times, I think is important. And for me personally, I've gone through a lot in a short period of time. So what I try to do with my coaching, and it starts within our company, I do it with our agents all the time. But beyond that, when I did the book and everything, it was to help people know that they can do it, and you don't have to, live up to all the stereotypical things that they say you have to have when you get into a business. But beyond that, how to avoid the mistakes that I made and get there quicker, hit that success level quicker. And then from there, my mission, if you will, is to help everyone obtain what I would call a life balance. And by that, I just mean a good revenue, but yet still a life to enjoy it, because real estate will suck the life out of you if you let it.
I like that. So you're talking about both business and life holistically.
They're all in the same when you're in real estate. It's hard to turn it off.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, you've got to be willing to be standing there talking to one of your loved ones and go, hang on, I got a client calling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that client believes that they are, they might have an emergency or
Right.
whatever they're calling you about is generally an urgent matter to begin with.
Right.
And they need your feedback. How do you deal with that? How do you balance? I mean, we all know there's no such thing as life balance, right?
Right. Correct.
It's about dealing with different, aspects of challenges, dealing with different things as they show up and being able to be present for, what you're with. How do you coach people through that? What are some of the aha moments that you've come up with?
Well, the big thing is just setting the expectations up front and who you're dealing with, whether it be your significant other or a client. If you're working with a new client and you tell them, if I'm available, I'll always take the call. But if I'm not, I'll shoot you a message and say, I'll call you back, or, leave a voicemail. I will get back to you. That way you're in the moment, whether it be with your client or with your significant other or your family. And I use the kids a lot as an analogy because at the end of the day, kids aren't going to remember, if you sold $1 million in real estate, they're going to remember those times you missed their dance recital or their soccer game or things like that. So I think just coaching, if you will, your clients and in your people around you is just as important. And setting those expectations. And once I started doing that, because I was just as guilty as everybody, I found that at the end of the day, as long as you're open with people, they're willing to respect you as a person. When you bow down to people, those people are going to be a disaster to deal with.
Yeah, I don't know if for those in Win Nation that are taking notes today on this podcast, there's a lot of gold already in this. That balance, that clarity, setting expectations and communication, both with the clients and with the people that you spend your time with, your family, friends, things like that. If you got something going on, I mean, that's a big key point there in coaching. Some gold hiding in there. So you talk about setting those expectations, and do you think a lot of people avoid doing that up front when they start dealing with a client?
They do. I think they avoid it because they're afraid of they might have some sort of pushback and confrontation. But what I've found, especially as I started to grow the team and now the brokerage and have a lot of staff, what I found is people don't care, as long as they're getting good service and they're being taken care of and they're being listened to. They don't care. They know you have a life and they should respect that. And again, if they don't, those are just people we choose not to work with.
Right. And I think if you approach this from a position of kindness,
Mm-hmm.
a smile on your face, I care about you and the outcomes that we have here. But let's kind of talk through some of the things that end up challenging our relationships in the event that we allow them to. I totally agree with you. I think people are open to having that conversation up front, but so many people forget to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
exactly.
So important in that coaching process. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see your clients facing in business growth?
As far as the real estate,
real
clients,
estate. Yep.
I think just in general, a lot of people have a very limited mindset as to what they can accomplish. I think people can get defeated too easily. There's so much negativity with social media and just media and now, elections, and they let that get into their brain and it starts to affect their day-to-day activities. When I feel if they would just tune these things out and focus on the priorities and the things that just do the action steps that are going to accomplish their goals, they would have all the success in the world. But it's a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah. Oh, that you're totally right. I mean, you start kind of worrying yourself in circles,
mm-hmm.
and then nothing happens. And then that gets contagious. And I don't think anybody wants to really sit down and talk to a business professional who is down in the dumps or is, kind of a worrywart about what they just saw on CNN.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're totally right on that. So attitude, mindset of abundance,
Yep.
Instead of mindset of limitations.
Yep.
We see so many people when we talk about mindset of limitations, mindset of abundance, we see everybody starts from zero in their business growth. How do I get a deal? How do I get a second deal? How do I get a third deal? Do you think that limits people when they start approaching it from, I just gotta start at the bottom? Or, I mean, do you look at it from maybe starting at the top or working your way in somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it does. The way that we approach things and I approach things is to tell people, figure out what that ultimate goal is. And we're not talking about money. We look at it from, everyone talks about what's your why. So, and it can never be about the money. So you figure out what you want to accomplish, whether it be send your kids to college, go on more trips, and you work backwards and you figure out what those monetary amounts are. But a lot of people will say, set your goals, but set them so that if you don't hit them, you don't feel bad about yourself. I forget that. I say shoot for the moon, and you set your goals really high. Therefore, you build your systems to attain that. And that, because if you set to your systems to do 100,000 in production, you hit 100,000, your systems crash. So set them for 10 million, and that way your system. So I refer to that as failing my way to success. So, as I set my goals every year, if I don't hit them, I just roll them over to the next year. And again, that goes back to the mindset. Even though I don't hit them, I'm not down on myself. I just got to know that I got to keep working. So I do think that's important when people are doing that.
I love it. It's, that whole understanding. It's like, the 4-minute mile.
Right.
Everybody was saying nobody could ever run a 4-minute mile until Roger Bannister ran it. And then everybody was running a 4-minute mile at that point. So, I mean, what if they said, oh, you can't run a 3.5-minute mile? A 4-minute mile would have been nothing.
Someone will do it. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I love that. Set your goals high and your systems to achieve that high goal. Yep. Another key point for Win Nation.
Well,
there.
And I also go a step further than that. I tell them to figure out not what their revenue is currently, but what they want it to be. And then anything under that, break it down per hour. Anything other than that, I tell them to delegate out to someone else so they can focus on those money generating activities or spending time with those who their loved ones. And in doing so, that's what I've found how you grow.
So spending your time on the highest dollar return activities possible in your business.
Yep. Excellent.
So how do you stay motivated each day, Shane? Let's go back to the alarm goes off.
Yep.
How do you motivate yourself from that point?
That I'll be honest and say that my alarm goes off super early, so that's not always the easiest to do. But I know that I've got not only my family, but other people and myself that are depending on me daily. So alarm goes off. I've got a morning routine. I get up, move around for a little bit. I pop in some headphones, listen to a Bible verse or, something in a Bible study. From there, I'll jump onto a podcast or listen to a book or something of some motivation. And then maybe return a few emails in between. I've got a half a dozen or so businesses that I manage. So I'll fire back those, to all the department heads, if you will, and then usually hit the gym by 5:30. I feel that if I do that regularly, my day's good. No matter what happens, I can handle conflict pretty easy. I don't get worked up too easy, which I think kind of annoys people a lot because I stay pretty calm. And then I have a very similar type routine when I get home. When I try to be home by 5 or 6 to be home with the kids, go to different events. My son plays hockey. That sucks up life during the winter. But I keep, like I said earlier, I don't deal with negativity on social media. I don't follow the news. I really don't pay attention to the political. I mean, I know it's happening, but I don't really get down in the weeds of the political aspect. And I just focus, I have like tunnel vision, if you will, on what I want to accomplish. And in doing so, I'm able to keep myself motivated.
I love it. The focus, the intensity, the rise and grind, if you will. That's amazing. So what is the key piece of advice you would give other agents in our space? You have a whole bunch of agents and a whole bunch of offices there. Mm-hmm. Somebody walks in your office, sits down and says, Shane, what advice do you have for me? What key piece of advice do you have that you would share with them?
I usually start with if we like say they're already here, they're licensed. Just one step at a time. We figure out what your goal is, and we do it one step at a time. I think that everyone tries to chase that new shiny object. They get overwhelmed, they quit, and they shut down. You focus on one step at a time, get that set up, do the next one step at a time. Real estate, and I think business in general, is very simplistic in nature, and is if you do those little steps that add up daily, you get big results. It's the Darren Hardy compound effect. It's relevant in anything. And like I said, they focus on too many, they get overwhelmed. So that I've found doing that and they put it into application, it's all worked out really well.
Cool. I love it. We talked a little bit about your morning routine.
Yep.
A question that I ask everybody that's on the show, Shane, how do you define starting your day with a win?
I personally, going through what I went through, going through, we all have trials and tribulations with family. If I'm able to wake up every day with those that my family, my wife, and they're around me, no matter what happens, no matter money, business, whatever, I consider that a win. My wife stuck with me through a time that would have ripped people apart. So that to me is a win.
Wow. I love that. So the support, the love that your wife provides. One last thing, Shane, you have a favorite quote?
My favorite quote, man, there's a lot of them.
Give me a hard hitting one. Give me one that
Oh man, I knew you were going to ask that and I didn't. I wish you think I'd be
That's all right.
Prepared for it. You know what? It's a silly one, but I use "don't stoop to stupid" a lot.
We've not had that one. I love it.
Yeah.
Don't stoop to stupid.
Yep. I just don't engage in that negativity.
That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's so profound when you think about it.
Yeah.
Stoop to stupid. Win Nation. Yep. Write that one down. Yeah. I love that. So, Shane, thank you so much for being with us today. I know our audience got a lot out of this. Where can people find you on social media and learn more about what you do?
I've got my main page is just Shane Torres, business consultant, or Shane Torres Remax, Road to 20 million. Any of those sites will get you there.
I love it. Thanks for being on Start With a Win, Shane. We appreciate all that you do, and thank you for starting with a win.
Yeah, thanks for having me.